Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Thought I'd tell everybody what happened this year. I haven't done any videos since I did the last bamboo arrow video. A lot of big things, a lot of big changes in the arrow, tuning and grouping and shooting, and I'm excited. I showed you the spine tester. This is for traditional people who don't shoot carbon arrows. Probably not a lot left of us around, but I don't particularly like carbons. So this is a spine tester right here, and a bullet scale. The spine tester and the bullet scale are probably the two most important tools that we have for bow tuning. So let me start. I built 4 new bows this spring, this summer. I built the Bear Kodiak behind me, and one of my standard longbows. And then I built a Bear Kodiak Special, and I built another longbow. The Kodiak has been what I've been hunting with this fall. It's just such a joy to shoot. It's 53 pounds, and it's all bamboo. And the Special is all bamboo. The limb configuration on the Special is very different from the Kodiak. The Kodiak's got a far more aggressive limb to it. And it shoots a lot snappier. And the Special is 57 pounds at 28 inches. And it shoots very nice, but it's smoother. The Kodiak's not unsmooth, it's just zippy. And the longbows shoot the way they're supposed to. They're just a joy to shoot too. But the recurve, this little Kodiak, is just so much fun, and it just puts them right where I want them, which leads me to get into the bamboo arrow tuning. I was on the YouTube, and I ran across the Ranch Fairy, and I don't know what compelled me to watch it. Troy turned out to be quite a character, but he knows his shit. He's got this stuff down, and so I decided that maybe if I watched one of his arrow tuning videos, and I've been building longbows for 35 years, and I've rarely shot a bear shaft. Never had the need to. Throw on 3 5.5-inch banana fletch, throw a field point on a wood shaft, and off we go. And I'm not a tournament archer, and the folks that I've shot with over the years, we weren't really concerned with teacup groups and stuff like that, and I'm still not, to be honest with you. The wife and I shoot probably on a field course once a week, and we'll continue to do so all winter if the weather's holding good here in New England like it is now. I still got 2 more weeks of the deer season, so I'm shooting in the yard and I'm shooting here in the shop quite a bit, but most afternoons I'm in the forest. So I watched Troy, and he was shooting a 47-pound longbow, and I watched him, and I went through the procedure, blah, 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 and I don't know, he's kind of a goof, but it resonated with me. So I came out in the shop, probably the next day, grabbed my favorite longbow, grabbed my favorite spined bamboo arrows, took the feathers off them. I'm shooting 160 grain field point anyway, but he was talking about big points, big weight, for super pass-throughs and all this stuff. So I started thinking, I have a ton of old Grizzlies, 190 grainers and stuff like that. Why let me try them. So one thing led to another, and I got consumed with arrow tuning. And it seemed like everything I shot out of my bows didn't shoot. And so now I'm really thinking, what's going on here? So I pulled out all the carbons that I've had over the years. My wife shoots carbons. This may get a little hard to hear. My furnace is a little loud. I've got good heat, so it's probably working. Every time we go to the range, there's discarded arrows there. You'll pick up here, pick up there. So I ended up with a 400, a 500, a 600, and a 350. So I started trying to shoot these out of my recurve with my longbows just to see what the spine would be. And it reaffirmed carbons are not for me. I couldn't get much to shoot. So I bought some 190 grain field points, and I started going through all my bamboo arrows, and I finally got some stuff, all my arrows are 28 inches anyway. Choice starts with a full length, works down till it gets to 27 and a half, 28 inches long. I shoot a solid 28 back and forth. So most of 99% of my bamboos that I have here in the shop are already cut. So we already did a video on the weight. All my stuff from Tiger in China comes through 55, 60, 60, 65. I don't have any control over what that means to him, and I'm pretty sure that he's not doing AMO spine testing. And yet, to get the record straight here, I use AMO spec. That's 26-inch centers. I always have, and I always will. I have a conversion chart on my oven, but it doesn't matter. A 500 spine arrow is not a 500 spine arrow on a 26-inch center. So I just use the same stuff I've used for wooden arrows for the last 40 years. So what I have on this tester, this is an old Ramble. Somebody gave me this a million years ago. Don't remember where I got it, but it's dandy. It works perfect. But it's in thousandths of an inch on one side. So I can dial arrows into whatever I need, not 60, 65, perhaps 65 or 400 spine. It says here, 0.4. Deflection is 400 thousandths. So I started going through all my bamboo arrows and finding out what shot with what. And it's like, okay, now I got that down. Now here's the kicker. Start with the field point weight that you're going to shoot for a broadhead weight, because that changes the whole spine. So everything we just did on all my stuff with, say, 160 grain, the spine, I'm going to go with 150, 160 grain whatever. So I said, well, for a 66-pound longbow with 190 grain grizzly, what do I need to do? So I got it down to exactly what the decimal is. And I was able to take and call out a bunch of arrows that are all within 10 thousandths deflection. And they shoot okay. Watch Troy's video, Match Fury, I highly recommend it. The last detail on tuning, he's cutting 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch off the shaft to get them perfectly straight. You can stop whatever you want, because perfectly straight is probably going to mean this is good enough for some people. And I wanted them like a dart. I wanted them to come out of my bow, no feathers, and 2, 3, not a nice group, but I want them all straight. So I did that. And now what I found out was my 53-pound bamboo recurve shoots a heavier arrow than my 66-pound bamboo longbow, flatland. So I'm assuming that the bamboo recurve is putting that much more energy in the shaft. Side note, I was very skeptical when I built these two recurves off the 55 forms that I built. I think the 55 Bears, Kodiak, and the 55 Special were the two best bows ever built. Say what you want about a 59, say what you want about a 60. This 55 limb design is amazing. They're just amazing. They're all over the internet, they're cheap. I found a pair, I made a couple of forms. Howard wasn't a fan of bamboo, and I read, don't quote me, but I read that Howard didn't like bamboo in the recurves because he couldn't shoot them. Well, Howard couldn't shoot them, but they shoot good for me, and they'll probably shoot good for you because we don't shoot like Howard did. Howard's particular style worked for Howard, and he was a master at it. So I don't think the recurve worked for Howard. The way we shoot will probably work for us, but I'll tell you what, I don't hold a long time. I anchor and it's gone, and I shoot totally instinctive, and the recurve works fine for me. I shoot as accurate as I do with any of my longbows, interchangeably. Pick up one, put one down, pick up one, and every sight picture, everything seems to work really good for me. At 2025, I don't shoot big game. I like 10, 15, 20 maybe. 30, nah, probably not. So my arrows don't get a chance to get out there. But back to this bear shaft testing. When you get them flying perfectly like darts, and then you put feathers on them, it doesn't matter almost. You know what, I was always wondering, you see these compound shooters today, and I have nothing against compounds, I just don't want to shoot them. I shot them 35 years ago. I shot Jennings 4-wheel Aero Stars back in the day, when Pete Shepley and Tom Jennings were neck and neck, and I got caught up in that years ago, and it was a rotating money thing, and thank God I got out of that. And I was wondering, how do these guys do these even 100 grain broadhead with these micro veins on them? Now I know they're bear shafting, they're bear shaft tuning, so their arrows are flying. And then I took my broadheads and I did 10-yard testing with 190 grain grizzlies, some with a 75 grain adapter weight inside to boost them up. I did this for weeks. I checked everything, and I got a very good understanding of how this works now, and I got broadheads bear test to fly like field planes. Not impacting the same, but flying straight and then knocking point controls your up and down. Tail left, too light. Tail right, too stiff. Too light arrow, you can bump up the field point weights, make them a little stiffer. A lot of tricks of the trade, you just got to experiment. So I urge you guys that are into traditional stuff, feathers, wood shafts, bamboo shafts, aluminum shafts. My bamboo recurve loves 21/17s. It bear shafts them like a dart. Who knows? 2018s, pretty close. But I like the bamboo. So now I got tons of bamboo arrows that are all spined for different things, because when you order them spined for 55, 60, 65, 70, 60, 65, I think it's on 28 inches, and it's on the premise that you're going to use a relatively normal field point, 125, 145. I like the 160s. These work real good for me, and I've been using them for years. I got the 190s, and these fly really good too. So any point will fly real good if you bear shaft them. So I don't know why I didn't pay attention to this years ago, but I did. Another thing, so Ranch Fairy, do yourself a favor, sit down and spend a Saturday, because it's addictive. And Troy lives on a ranch. Well, he doesn't live on a ranch, but he has access to a ranch in Texas, and they hunt pigs there on feeders all the time. So he's live testing his stuff. He's static shooting in his shooting range, does all his bear shaft testing. But then they want to try broadheads out and do this and that and the other thing. He's got pigs coming in, 10-yard shots, 15-yard shots, and the guy's a shooter. And it's amazing. The other thing I did is I gave up my glove. Another shout out to Clay Hayes. I wasn't really thrilled. Clay's been around for a while, and I wasn't into him. And then one day I watched him, and it's funny how our perceptions of something change, and all of a sudden, he was making a brain tan deerskin tab, and I got a ton of leftover Montana elk hide from some chaps I made. I was making chaps for a while. So I whipped together this little tab, and then I whipped together a bunch more of them. And then I remembered back in the day, I used to shoot the Black Widow, so I made up a bunch of these. I've been a Howard Hill glove guy for 30 years. I got my original somewhere, worn out, got out. And I said, well, let me try a few shots with the tab. It was like day and night. I think we just get stale. So I started using the tab. I've been shooting the tab every day. I shoot every day. I've been shooting the tab every day all summer. It's the 13th of December today. And I think I got a nice clean release. I've learned to release, and I'm shooting a little lighter weight. I shot 65 to 75 over the years. I still can, but I'm having a blast now shooting 50 stuff, like 60 stuff, and I shoot the same. I don't hold longer, but they're just nicer to shoot. And with the tab, it's number one, I like shooting the tab. Number two, I like making the tab. So I've been making these. I got them all over the place, in all my hunting clothes, in my truck, on my shooting bench, in the jeans pocket. I've got tabs everywhere, so I've always got a tab. So you should try that. The scale. And the spine test are going to allow you to dissect your equipment and understand exactly what your bow likes. I hand load a lot too, and every rifle loves a certain pepper. Every bow likes a certain arrow bow. So if you're buying arrows from your pro shop and you're not making them yourself, and you don't have any of this stuff, then you really don't know the potential of the bow you got. Because I don't think there's a bad bow on the market today. I make my own, so I know what my stuff is capable of shooting, far more accurate than I can ever shoot. So you can't just go into a pro shop or online and say, hey, I need some 55-pound arrows. Because you never know what you're going to get unless you test them. Unless you're paying for specifically, plus or minus 2 pounds, and you get a spine weight, and they're checking every shaft. Because these aren't like aluminums or carbons. They're not, they're organic. So I have to manipulate the weight on my shaft, but I can't manipulate the spine. I can only buy a lot of 60, 65, 55, 60, whatever, 60, 65. And then when I get them, spine them to the minute. And then find out what my bows, and now I've got 4 bows that I shoot. I got my favorite longbow, and I got my favorite Kodiak. So I know exactly what these shoot. So the next time I buy shafts, unfortunately, you're going to have to probably buy 50 or 100 a whack. It's worth it. But you need that core group of shafts to be able to shoot with different stuff. If you're going to shoot 180 grain broadhead, 190 grain broadhead for fall, that's fine. That's going to be a designated set of arrows. But if the springtime comes, you're going to get out, you're going to knock around in the woods, stumping, 3D shoots, whatever. We don't do too many. couple we did this year. So if you want a little better bow performance, you drop down to 125 grain point, but it changes the spine. So you have to have arrows to compensate for that. Unless you're going to stay with your hunting shafts and use that same deflection on your field point shafts. I leave my broadhead on all the time, and I bash my field points for that. Another thing I got from a little tip I got from the ferry was about broadhead sharp. I always like keeping my broadhead sharp. This is a little jig. Stay sharp. 25 degree. It's a roller. Cheap. Pick that up. Picked up some diamond plates. And I went. Broadhead prices are off the hook. So I went with an Australian company that sells a Tusker broadhead. I love Grizzlies, and I luckily, when their prices were not crazy, I bought a bunch of 150 grain single bevels. So I bought the Tusker 190s, and the steel is crazy hard, and you can get them crazy sharp, but I spent so much time with this jig on the first one, and you've got 2 sides per head, and I got a dozen. I kind of figured it out that I used a mill file, and I got them close. They're probably about 35 degrees. They're not sharpened from the factory. They got a little bit of a mill on them, but nothing to guideline. So you're going from 35 degrees down to 25 degrees, which is probably taking off a lot of meat. And when I'm done, they're about 178 grains. So I took off from 190, I took off quite a bit, but they're sharp. And then you hone them and you go up to, I stop at 1500, and then I do the rouge on my leather. Polish them with the jig, on the jig to maintain the angle, and that puts a chrome finish on them. You can see yourself with stopping at 1500, and then I'll get my regular old strop here, and then I'll strop them to get the burr off and clean them up. And I'll tell you what, they're scary sharp. They're scalpel sharp. And once you get them, you're going to spend a lot of time getting them. But once you get them, maintaining them is nothing, unless you're harpooning a rock in the dirt or something. But I mean, these things will go through anything. They go in my foam targets, and you pull them out, and it's like, wow. There's no residue on them. There's nothing. That's how sharp they are. They don't even pick anything. But I got nicked tonight hanging my bow up in my tree stand, and I've got the little quickie 3-arrow, and the back end was just sticking out, and when I hung it up, the back end just nicked me, and I'll tell you what, I bled like a pig for a few minutes till I got it under control. So that's about all I can tell you, but it's a fun thing finding out what arrow your bow will put out there at, say, 10 yards straight. And I'll tell you, when they're not straight, they go into target like this heavy, they go into target like this light, and then all of a sudden they start doing this. It's really, really cool. And you're going, wow, no feathers. This is amazing. And then you add, say 250 grains on the tip, no feathers. Pew. Wow. Then you put feathers on it. Zip, zip. That's how you get teacup groups. And that's one of the secrets to buying expensive bamboo arrows online from the Bamboo Craftsman. They're doing all of this ahead of time. Their spine is perfect. They're 99.9% straight. No bamboo arrow is perfectly straight. but they're matched. They're matched in weight and they're matched in spine. All you gotta do is find out what spine your bow likes, and then you call somebody, if you're not gonna make your own arrows, and you say, listen, my bow likes a 460 thousandths deflection, which is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, which is a 55-pound arrow with this kind of broadhead that I'm shooting. And you can probably order arrows that will shoot out of your bow. Doing it yourself is foolproof because you tune that arrow to your bow. So I've tuned 4 sets of arrows for 4 bows. And it's fun. It's getting back into traditional archery the way our forefathers did it. You know, the way they did it in the 40s and the 50s when they only had Port Orford cedar. And I'm sure there was a ton of guys in their own shops with a V-jig planning out their own arrows. And you know, this spine tester is probably 50 years old. So you know, there's been a lot of wood arrows gone across that. And these guys back then, who are gone now, and now we're the old timers, they knew this stuff. But it was trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. And guys like Troy, who do these videos, and hopefully myself, although I'm not giving you nearly as much information as Troy is, it's to get you going, to get you off the couch. You know, I love watching videos, but if I'm watching videos, I'm not out here in the shop, you know, and I like learning stuff, so I'll take what I watch from a video and I'll come out here and I'll do this and then you get the holy smokes moment, you know. And you compound shooters, you just got a little more mechanical stuff to tweak. Us guys, you know, we do brace height, we do knock height. That's it, we're done, you know. So I've got that established, you know, my brace height, I lay my hand on a riser. My particular thing here is 6 7/8 or 6 1/2 or whatever it is. It works good. I've gone up, I've gone down. Your bow is going to tell you when it doesn't like a brace height, and there's a sweet spot. Same thing with knocking points. If you go with a factory advertised knocking point, I knock under, and I like almost 90 degrees, almost perfectly 90 degrees. And you know, your tail up and your tail up, tail down will tell you. And you know, I think a lot of that has to do with your release. I'm a corner to the mouth guy. 3 fingers under, I don't know. You know, walking the string, you'll have to figure that out. But figuring it out is all what this is all about, and it's fun. You know, whether you're drawing on a squirrel, a rabbit, a buck, a bear. Hogs are fun. I'm planning a spring hog hunt. I've done some in the past. Bears are cool. And whitetails. Who doesn't love a whitetail? You know, I'm sitting in my stand tonight and I was watching a big gray squirrel at about 10 yards. And another thing, all you guys that shoot recurves and longbows, I was on a site today and they got into a speed thing, and I had pulled out my chronograph probably in September, and I put a couple of arrows through it, and I put it back in the box and put it away. I've never played that game, and I don't know, something I read prompted me to test my bows. I sent one of my longbows to a writer years ago in Boston, and we put it through the ringer. Flat limb, red elm, 69-inch, and I never had put my bows through the chrono. And he said it shot 179 feet per second. I don't know what kind of arrows he was shooting out there. He didn't blow it up, so he wasn't shooting into. That's probably not a bad speed. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. Throw the speed equation out the window. Let the compound shooters have that. Knitting needle carbons, 320, 350. That means something to them, fine. To us, every time I pick up my bow, no matter what kind of bow it is, I'm in love with it. I love shooting. I love shooting in here at 10 yards, 5 yards. I've got a tree stand outside on a big maple, and I've got little targets I can move around to any yardage I want. I don't care what the yardage is, I don't care. And speed, I really don't care. And neither does a deer, or a bear, or a moose, or an elk. They don't care. If the bow is faster, will it shoot flatter? Yeah, probably. But what a lot of people don't realize is from the bow making side of it, everything that you do to that bow to make it faster, it's giving you speed. It's going to take something else away. If the bow's going to give you speed, it's going to take something away from you. And that, over the years, has been sweetness. My flat limbs, there's no hand shot. None. I heal. There's no hand shot. I don't get it. Nothing. I build another model that's not reflex, deflex, it's back set. I hand plane my form, and I've got 2 inches of back set, which gives me, on the average, of 7 pounds more than if I did do the same bow in a flat one. So it gives me a little more zippiness. But it's the same thing, you heal it, there's no hand shot. Reflex, deflex, and real fast bows can't be really smooth. There's a trade-off. So if you haven't shot a flat limb, even most of my bows follow the string after a while. That's the sweet spot. Follow the string bow. If you haven't shot one, find somebody who's got one and try it. You'll like that. You that anchor, you let go, and it's like, wow, that's nice. And then try as a high performance as you can find long bow, recurve. Recurves today, I'm making all bamboo. I use parallel lands, bamboo. These seem to work out real well. So I'm going to probably continue. I've only got the 2 Kodiak forms. I won't build another special. It's smooth, but it's of no value to me hunting. But I might build another Kodiak because I can play with that hand. And I like playing with different hands. This is IB, the bird's eye maple. It's a red use purple heart and bird's eye. It's pretty, and it's a little bit heavy, and it's pretty stable. But I'm in the tiger maple right now, right? This long goes tiger maple. And with a purple heart stripe. I like yellow heart stripes. It's a combination of red tiger glass. So I like to play with the handles a little bit. Do yourself a favor. Get busy on your arrows. Tune your arrows to your bow. Even if you have to get down to the 28, 27, 27 and a half, make those arrows fly. It's fun and it's easy. Jeff out. See you later.